Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
Trump pardons sailor in submarine photos case. President Donald Trump has pardoned a Navy submariner sentenced to prison for taking photos inside the classified engine room of a nuclear submarine, the White House announced on Friday. Petty Officer First Class Kristian Saucier pleaded guilty in May 2016 to 2 felony counts, one for unlawful retention of national defense information and another for obstruction of justice, for taking cell phone pictures inside the Navy vessel and later destroying his own equipment upon learning he was under investigation. The president has pardoned Kristian Saucier, a Navy submariner, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders announced at a briefing with reporters. The Justice Department later confirmed the move. Sanders added that the president is appreciative of Mr. Saucier's service to the country. The move marked just the second pardon Trump has granted since entering office, with the first extended in August to Joe Arpaio, the former Arizona sheriff who was convicted of criminal contempt of court in a case involving his tactics targeting undocumented immigrants. Saucier was sentenced to 12 months in prison for mishandling classified information. Critics have cited the episode to allege a double standard in how low and high-ranking U.S. officials handle sensitive material. The president brought the case back into public view in January, when he compared the treatment of Saucier with that of his former electoral opponent Hillary Clinton and her top campaign officials. Crooked Hillary Clinton's top aide, Huma Abedin, has been accused of disregarding basic security protocols. She put classified passwords into the hands of foreign agents, Trump tweeted in January. Remember sailors' pictures on submarine? Jail. Prosecutors had sought a much steeper sentence for the former Navy machinist, calling for him to face 6 years in prison, but the judge gave a more lenient sentence, a point the White House highlighted in announcing his pardon. The sentencing judge found that Mr. Saucier's offense stands in contrast to his commendable military service, Sanders noted. Nunberg arrives at Mueller grand jury. Former Trump campaign aide Sam Nunberg, who threatened earlier this week to defy a subpoena from special counsel Robert Mueller, showed up Friday morning at the federal courthouse in Washington, where he appeared set to answer prosecutors' questions in the ongoing probe of alleged collusion between Trump aides and Russia. Nunberg faced a throng of cameras as he arrived just after 9 a.m. with his attorney, Patrick Brackley. Other grand jury witnesses have managed to get into the courthouse in recent months without using the building's public entrances, but Nunberg walked in with the usual collection of visitors and stood patiently in a security line. He braved a gauntlet of reporters inside as he and his attorney headed up to the third floor, where the grand juries meet behind closed doors. Asked whether he planned to speak after his appearance, Nunberg said, "No." Mueller's prosecutors were not seen in the courthouse Friday morning, but they, too, have taken to entering through an underground garage. Nunberg's arrival at the courthouse capped a whirlwind week that started with his anonymous leaking to the media of a Mueller subpoena for his communications with Trump and other members of the president's inner circle. The conservative activist, who was fired from the Trump campaign, then embarked on a series of erratic, manic interviews, many on live television, in which he vowed to defy the subpoena, speculated that prosecutors had something on Trump, made disparaging remarks about several Trump aides, and suggested that prosecutors were seeking to indict prominent Trump advisor Roger Stone. Despite his initial comments about ignoring the subpoena and potentially risking arrest for contempt of court, Nunberg quickly backed down and agreed to comply. But the story took yet another twist Tuesday, when Fox Business Network reporter Charles Gasparino said he'd spoken with Nunberg, who reportedly said he was planning to enter substance abuse treatment after his grand jury testimony Friday. "There's something, and drinking I believe is a big part of it, and that's what happened yesterday," Gasparino said. "That's where the story actually goes from here." Nunberg's initial defiance prompted all manner of analysis over whether the Mueller grand jury should even be talking with a witness who is headed in for mental health or substance abuse treatment. The team may be debating that very question as we speak, Melinda Hogg, a former federal prosecutor who worked with Mueller when he was a U.S. attorney in San Francisco in the late 1990s, said in an interview on Wednesday. But a defense attorney working with another senior Trump aide predicted Mueller's team would bring Nunberg in for the grand jury appearance and begin by peppering him with questions to determine his sobriety, credibility and fitness to answer questions. The former Trump aide's public suggestions about skipping the grand jury appearance, the lawyer added, may have been a strong indication to Mueller that he was still worth talking to. Honestly, if I'm Mueller, one of the things I'm thinking is, this guy probably does have something to say and he's making a big stink to spook me into withdrawing the subpoena so there's no sideshow at the grand jury on Friday, the lawyer said, adding that Mueller may decide, I'm going to call the guy's bluff. Stormy Daniels' lawyer says Americans need to know details because cover-ups matter. The attorney for adult film actress Stormy Daniels said Friday that the American public deserves to know the details of her alleged affair with President Donald Trump, despite the case's tawdry nature, because cover-ups matter. The cover-up is that you have attorney, Michael Cohen claiming that Donald Trump never knew anything about this. You have the White House claiming that Donald Trump never knew anything about this. That's going to be shown to be patently false, Daniels' attorney, Michael Avenatti, said in a Friday morning interview with CNN. Daniels filed a lawsuit against Trump earlier this week seeking to void a non-disclosure agreement she signed in the waning days of the 2016 presidential election, the existence of which was first reported by the Wall Street Journal, that awarded her $130,000 in exchange for her silence related to an affair with an individual who is unnamed in the agreement. That individual, referred to by the alias David Dennison, is Trump, Avenatti has said, and because Trump did not sign the agreement, it is void. Cohen, Trump's longtime personal attorney, did sign the document and facilitated the $130,000 payment to Daniels. He has said the money for Daniels' payment came from his own personal funds and that Trump was not aware of the agreement, an argument Avenatti on Friday called laughable given Cohen's ethical obligations as an attorney in the context of the 2016 election's waning days. The White House said this week that Trump has denied the affair allegations. Daniels, too, has denied having an affair with Trump in the wake of the Journal's report about the non-disclosure agreement, although that denial conflicts with a 2011 interview, predating the non-disclosure agreement, that she gave to In Touch magazine in which she detailed her sexual relationship with Trump, which she said began in 2006. Avenatti said he was not intimidated by entering a legal battle with Trump, who has regularly relied on public threats of legal action as a means of pressuring foes. He's very active, he's very aggressive, he's very powerful, Daniels' attorney said. But I haven't let people take my lunch money since I was 7, 8 years old. I'm not going to start now. We have substantial evidence and facts that were not included in the complaint. We're not going to lay all our cards out on the table, Avenatti told CNN. I am confident that when that evidence and those facts come to light, the American people are going to conclude that Attorney Cohen and the White House have not shot straight with them on this issue. Mueller tight-lipped as media leaks shape Russian narrative. Special counsel Robert Mueller and his prosecutors aren't talking to the media, but still the leaks keep coming. In the past 2 weeks, anonymously sourced news reports have said the top federal Russia investigator is preparing to indict Russians for hacking Democratic emails in 2016, focusing on why one of President Donald Trump's longtime lawyers was in talks about a Moscow real estate deal during the campaign, asking questions about Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner's business dealings, and probing whether the United Arab Emirates improperly sought to influence Trump's White House policy. Through it all, Mueller has said nothing in public, so far speaking only with indictments, like last month's charges against Russian nationals accused of election interference, that had not been foreshadowed in the media. That's a textbook stance for a prosecutor who must avoid tipping off potential targets or wrongly incriminating people. But the former FBI director's no-comment policy has also created a powerful information vacuum, one being filled by witnesses, lawyers and others who have caught glimpses of his advancing probe, and who feed the media selective details that serve their personal agendas, but which may or may not accurately reflect Mueller's main avenues of inquiry. What makes leaks and false leads so pernicious is that those doing them know a professional and ethical prosecutor cannot and will not be able to correct the record each and every time, said Kushner's attorney, Abe Lowell, who insists that recent leaks have unfairly suggested that Mueller is closing in on his client. That leaves those with improper motives, and who are often violating the law or rules governing investigations, the freedom to do the mischief they intend, Lowell added. Such complaints serve Lowell's own purposes, of course, and Kushner may well face serious legal jeopardy. But it is impossible to tell from reports alleging that Mueller is pursuing a certain avenue of inquiry, like Kushner's finances, whether he is vigorously closing in on a target, or simply running down every lead. Legal experts said Mueller likely finds the deluge of leaks irksome, but also an inevitable part of his job. I'm sure that the special counsel's office is not pleased to see matters that are relevant to their investigation spinning out of control in the press, said Melinda Hogg, a former federal prosecutor who worked with Mueller when he was a U.S. attorney in the late 1990s. But I'm guessing they don't view it as their job to try to manage that. Mueller has shown he's determined to avoid leaks on his own. High-profile visitors are whisked into the special counsel's Washington headquarters from a heavily guarded underground garage, out of sight of the TV cameras camped out on the sidewalks below. Before being dismissed, witnesses are admonished not to talk about their visits. So far, Mueller has only spoken to the public through court documents bearing his signature and those of his deputy prosecutors. A motion filed last summer to keep sealed the charges against former Trump campaign advisor George Papadopoulos explained the reasoning. Public disclosure may alert other subjects to the direction and status of the investigation, Mueller prosecutor Aaron Zelinsky wrote, and prompt them to destroy or conceal incriminating evidence. Several of the attorneys representing clients mired in the Russia probe told Politico they appreciate Mueller's no-comment policy. Mueller is doing it the right way, said one lawyer. The most important thing he's trying to do is create trust and trust that people who give him information know that it is not going to be leaked. Lowell argued that the media bets sources who take advantage of the special counsel's refusal to issue even simple confirmations or denials. Unfortunately, the media are all too willing partners in this arrangement, often encouraging this conduct and providing cover to these leakers by giving them attributions that make it impossible for there to be accountability, Lowell said. Stephen Ryan, the personal attorney for Trump's longtime lawyer, Michael Cohen, took issue this week with the media coverage surrounding his client. A Tuesday Washington Post story said the special counsel is examining Cohen's role in a proposed Trump Tower Moscow project and in a January 2017 effort to deliver a Ukrainian lawmaker's Ukraine-Russia peace plan to the incoming Trump administration. Ryan insists that Cohen faces no specific legal jeopardy from Mueller. Unsourced innuendo like this succeeds only because the leakers know the special counsel will not respond to set the record straight, he said. There's little Mueller can do to stymie leaks about his methods. Regular press briefings are a non-starter, veteran law enforcement officials say, and providing statements on a case-by-case basis is an imperfect solution. If Mueller's office were to deny even one story, failure to refute others could be interpreted as tacit confirmation. Veteran journalist Stephen Briel, who in 1998 notched the first on-the-record interview with independent counsel Kenneth Starr more than 4 years into his investigation of President Bill Clinton, said Mueller is doing a service to everyone involved by not speaking to reporters or by leaking information in other ways. Starr controversially admitted to Briel that he had been giving background details to the media. It's impossible to rule out that Mueller has had similar contact with reporters, but there is no evidence of it and longtime associates call it highly unlikely. Because he's stayed out of the press and hasn't tried to defend himself, he comes off as more credible, Brill said. Mueller's approach also benefits the investigation's trajectory. The power of Mueller's work is that everything he does is a complete surprise, he said. Therefore it has more impact on the people he's trying to scare or maybe trying to impress into responding to him. Mueller also knows he can't control witnesses once they leave his office. That was evident in the Monday spectacle of former Trump political advisor Sam Nunberg, who openly discussed his interactions with Mueller's team, even sharing a copy of a recent subpoena for his communications with the president and other inner circle Trump aides. It was the most candid discussion to date by any witness of his or her dealings with Mueller's office. In light of Nunberg's behavior, Hawks said the special counsel and his prosecutors are likely reassessing their interactions with future witnesses. They might think long and hard about each potential interview and decide what the chances are of this person doing what Mr. Nunberg has done and decide whether the interview is important enough to take that risk, she said. Making sure each witness has a lawyer who can advise against leaking helps, she said. But even there, Nunberg demonstrated on Monday that may not matter. The former Trump aide repeatedly told reporters that he was speaking publicly without giving his attorney any warning he would speak out.